Previously, on And You Thought It Was Safe. What the fuck is this? Oh. Oh no. Oh no. No. No.
No! Oh, please, God, no! No, please, God. Please, God, no, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. This can't be. I'm afraid it is happening, Marty.
So I never saw this when it first came out. I don't know what I was doing in 2002. That probably means drugs. Hopefully I was having a life. But even if I'd been watching television as religiously as I did back when I had no life, I would have skipped right the fuck over Carrie 2002.
You ever try heroin, Sue?
No.
Good girl. Nasty stuff. Cocaine?
No.
A little X, occasional joint?
No.
I skipped over most of Stephen King's made-for-TV output, to tell you the truth. Never watched his remake of The Shining, or that version of the Tommyknockers ABC put on. Read the books. Didn't care. And the legions of people who only know Stephen King through these shitty movies might as well have not have existed, as far as I was concerned.
What's it like, this, feeling?
Let's experience it together.
Hell, I couldn't even make it through The Stand until after I read the book and had morbid curiosity to draw upon as a power source.
We are dead, and this is hell.
It was the last Stephen King made-for-TV movie I cared about, and now that I've read the book, I can't even get through that thing in one sitting. Tim Curry or no Tim Curry?
Oh, come on, Bucko. Don't you want to burn?
Oh, Jesus. A thought just occurred to me. Some anime studio, like Ghibli or Gonzo or... No. Gainax. Gainax should totally remake it as a 13-part miniseries and cast Mark Hamill as English-language Pennywise. I'll let professional otaku decide who should be Japanese-language Pennywise, but come on, man, it'd be awesome. You know Skywalker can do a great evil clown. He's so good at it, he started being afraid of being typecast again.
It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
Can I get to the universe where that exists? Please? No? Hell. Fine. Carrie 2002.
Here.
It's not roll call, Carrie. You're excused per your mother's request. You might as well head down to the library right now.
Nothing against made-for-TV movies. But this Carrie comes from that schizophrenic time before television became the last bastion for serious drama made by and for adults with sticks up their asses that it is today. Back at the turn of the millennium, all serious filmmakers despised TV, and for one very good reason. Working there fucking sucked! The pay was lousy, the hours were long, and the oversight from on high was constant. And in the end, if you were lucky, you might see enough residual checks in the mail to pay your light bill in about 10 to 20 years. Maybe. Most people weren't that lucky. Fuck's sake, 2002 was the year Fox canceled your precious Firefly.
That seemed right to you.
Need I say more? That aside, anything with Stephen King's name on it immediately got made. So a Carrie remake got made and the multiverse is poorer for it. I know what they were trying to do. Make as faithful an adaptation of the book as time and budget would allow.
I've not come for what you hoped to do. I've come for what you did.
And they succeeded, by which I mean they totally failed, because all they wound up doing was exposing why Brian De Palma and Larry Cohen's Carrie was so good in the first place, and why the source material, in spite of everything that it led up to, is really kind of weak sauce.
Look, I'm all for believing whatever it is that you want to believe.
Don't get me wrong, I love Carrie the novel, but it's very much the novel written by a desperate, angry young dude with more ideas than dramatic sense, who's gotten very, very good at writing short stories. The shorter the better, since at the time his primary buyers/publishers were titty mags.
What are those? Breasts?
Carrie's still one of King's shortest books, to this day. even with the dozens of epistolary asides that made it so unique among his work and so beloved by the 14-year-old me who first read it. Turns out, joke's on him, because those were all last-minute additions made solely to pad out the page count and remind people of the Warren Commission. I'll pause while you Google.
Other people can do it too. I read about them on the internet.
The internet?
In other words, cheap filler. King himself has admitted this, now that he can look back on his first novel from the perspective of someone who's written like 50, most of which were better than Carrie. Point being, this remake only serves to highlight just how much fat De Palma et al. Trimmed off this production, and how much stronger and in better health it was for losing all of that weight. The first thing that blows your mind out the back of your head is when you realize that in its original form, Carrie 2002 was over 3 hours long.
No, Mama, it wasn't my fault.
Say it.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Thank Gan I ignored it when it first came out, because the 2 hours and 14 minutes I have here already feel like an eternity.
Did she say I was a project?
It's her MO. Helen was a project. I was a project. She practically talked me into getting Botox last summer. Can you believe that?
Maybe she thought you needed it.
Much like The Rage Carrie 2 was the worst possible kind of sequel, Carrie 2002 is the worst possible kind of remake. It restages all the scenes from the original, only more slowly, and with worse actors, less competent direction, and worse special effects.
I can see your dirty pillows. Everyone will.
They're called breasts, Mama. All the girls have them. They're very fashionable these days.
I can't. How you doing?
Are you kidding me?
I remember my prom. My date brought a toy gun so he could pose like James Bond for the picture.
Oh, he sounds like fun.
Yeah. They arrested him.
I can't dance. I never...
It's a slow song. So all we have to do is stand close to each other and shift our weight from foot to foot, like everybody else is doing. It requires no skill.
Okay.
As I mentioned, Carrie 76 is already absurdly faithful to its source, even when compared to other King adaptations. The only thing that might, and this is a big might, be worth adding would be Carrie's climactic post-prom rampage through her hometown, which they obviously didn't have the money to do in 1976 because it was the mid-70s and nobody had any money. They didn't even have enough money to roll a car with the actors in it. But to get there, you have to suffer through the most uncanny 2 hours I've seen outside a Pedro Almodovar film. Every single detail, from acting to casting to the shitty handheld camera work, the basic shot composition in this thing is just wrong. Carrie's defiant instead of reserved, trying for typical outcast teenager instead of lifelong abused victim.
Jesus loves everybody, Mama. Even me.
Mom's subtle instead of a raving lunatic, which means she's the only subtle thing in this thing, and so sticks out like a sore thumb.
That boy. He's like all the rest, Carrie.
I don't care.
The effects are obvious and intrusive instead of sparing and effective. My sister would rightly call them CG-tastic, and none of the supporting cast can act. They remind me of me, they're so bad. It's fucking hilarious.
Shouldn't people like that be homeschooled?
People like what, Chris?
You know, creepy religious people.
Give it a rest.
Mr. Scharnhorst,
What?
I'm a creepy religious person. Can I be excused?
Shut up, Kenny.
Shut up, Kenny. Yes, Kenny. Shut up.
All right.
It's superficially even more faithful, right up until the end, which we'll talk about later. But its faithfulness is an evil lie meant to lure you into a trap made of disappointment and shaky cam. Once you survive the crushing boredom and get to the climactic rampage, all you want to do is sit back and go, yeah, you fucked that small town up, Carrie. But you can't, because Well, just look at it. This is the kind of thing you'd expect from your average episode of Andromeda, the second season, before it really went to shit. Now all I want to do is watch Man of Steel again so I can see this kind of thing done right. Yeah, you fuck that IHOP up, Clark. Making matters worse. As if they could get any worse, but bear with me. This thing was meant to be a pilot. Yeah, somebody somewhere thought they could get a series out of this, no matter how much they deny it now that we can wave their shitty ratings in their face. But before you laugh, I'll remind you of something that even I managed to forget. They made a series out of the Dead Zone. Which, for those of you who don't know, I'll just say it has one of the most definitive endings in Stephen King's bibliography. So can I say anything good about Carrie 2002? Well, new Tommy is lame. And he's believably lame.
Why? Because you're different. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's actually kind of cool. Like anti-establishment or something.
And they actually filmed that scene where Principal Morty lays the smackdown on Chris's dad, showing all of those fuckers from the Rage Carrie 2 how you handle someone's jumped up important daddy.
I'll see you in court.
Court it is. Oh, and Mr. Hargensen, the minute you file for damages on the grounds of physical and verbal abuse, I will cross-file against your daughter on those same grounds on behalf of Carrie White and the other 19 students in this folder. Parent-teacher night is the first Tuesday of even-numbered months. Hope you stop by.
Like a mouse.
New Carrie does get off the occasional good line.
I mean, you never really talked to me before, and the only reason you're probably talking to me now is because none of your friends are around.
And her scenes with new Sue are actually okay. But still, put these two with anybody else and watch the problems mount up.
What's the matter anyway? Carrie's dead.
It matters because we still haven't figured out what happened on prom night.
The real problem being the few good points of this movie are floating atop a scummy sea of shit. Remember when I said Carrie 2 at least had some kind of worthwhile subtext bubbling up underneath it? No. Not this time. No. Nope. Not a bit. No. Nothing here. Move along, people. It's the same story, retold without even a fraction of the talent Brian De Palma managed to scrape together in the middle of the 70s, for God's sake. The big question being, is it better or worse than The Rage Carrie 2? To which I say, tack.
This is so far from over. It's